Welcome to the third episode of Jace's Talk. So, today, first thing this morning, I wake up and I'm like, what are we going to do a video about today, Lord? And the thing that pops into my mind is more clarification on yesterday's video. And I was like, I don't really know about that. What more can I really say other than just getting more detail about me, right? And then he gave me this image of in the beginning, right? About Adam and Eve. And the word that he puts into my mind is help me. And I'm like, alright, I know where this is going. So, let me tell you the story about Adam and Eve. God created Adam. And he created him out of the ground and the earth. And he breathed life into him, right? Now, when he did this, he essentially created an image of himself, right? Because that's what it says. He created Adam and Eve in his likeness, right? Now, just because he created them to be like God doesn't mean that they are God. They're not God. Because if they were God, then they would have created themselves and not, had somebody or something create them. So, let's be real about this. Alright? We can't be our own God, because if we could, then, we'd be able to be out of here, right? Just because you can make your own reality just means that you have free will. Doesn't mean that you're God. Now, the point that I'm supposed to be making has nothing to do with what I was just talking about. What it has to do with is it has to do with Adam and Eve. Now, God created Adam, and then from Adam he pulled out a rib and made Eve. And when he made Eve, he essentially made her the same way, right? So that way you have two that are like him, alright? Now this is important because I'm going to backtrack a little bit and I'm going to explain to you helpmeet. So, helpmeet is the word that they chose to use in the Bible, and you can trace it back, okay? This is a lot like the Sodom and Gomorrah strange flesh deal, alright? You got to pay attention to these words. And I don't recommend taking the Bible 100% literal, because Jesus spoke in parables, which means that you can't take Jesus's words 100% literal. You have to sort of figure out what it's talking about, okay? And that's important too, because when you look at strange flesh and you look at what that means, well, that's not saying that a female is different from a male, because that has nothing to do with that. We are both created the same, right? In fact, we're so much created the same that like it says in the beginning, when God created Adam and Eve, he took a rib from Adam's body. So we can't be strange flesh, right? We are literally created from the same being, correct? Alright, now that we've got that under control, let's go back to this helpmeet. When God said, "It is not good for man to be alone, therefore he will create a helpmeet for Adam," he didn't say, "I'm going to create a woman for Adam." He didn't say that. He said helpmeet. So what is helpmeet, and why is it so different from women? Well, it's different because the fact that it is not good for mankind to be alone. Alright? So mankind isn't supposed to be alone. We're not supposed to walk this earth alone. And the true meaning behind that is we're supposed to walk with Jesus. We're supposed to walk with the Father. And we ruined that when we decided to, put what God set aside and eat that wonderful fruit that, Man, if I would have known life was going to be like this after eating that, I would have said no. But regardless, here we are. So, God created Adam and then said, it's not good for man to be alone. I'm going to create him a helpmeet. And so he created Eve. Now, I personally like to think that he did this because he made Adam straight. He made Adam to be a man who is in love with a woman, right? So this is your first heterosexual relationship right here. So he creates Eve for Adam. But that's not to say that God didn't create a female for a female or a male for a male. Because I believe that if it was supposed to be that specific, then he would have clarified, right? And when it comes to clarification, I have to go back to what Jesus said. Anything that's in the Bible that was written by a disciple, Old Testament, whatever, anything that you find in the Bible, if you can't take it right back to all the spots where Jesus speaks or where God himself spoke, then you might as well just chalk it up in the air, because if Jesus didn't say it, if God didn't say it, then it's just words, right? And this is why it's so important for people to go to God when they read the Bible, because there's things there. The whole Bible is a parable, and you've got to look at it like it's a parable. You've got to be able to sort through it. When God said, if you knock, the door will open for you, he was implying that you will have to do the work to knock on that door. If you want the truth revealed, you've got to be willing to study. Anybody can read the Bible. Only those who take what the Word of God is, straight to the source, straight to Jesus, and say, what does this mean? The answer that he gives you is going to be the correct interpretation. Anything else is just mankind's interpretation. So, let's try to keep this in mind, people. Let's have a good time, okay?